My name is Ryan, and until one particular night, I truly believed there was no limit to my patience. Emily and I had been married for 5 years. We weren't perfect, but I thought we had a bond strong enough to handle anything. She was clever, confident, and loved to push boundaries. I used to find that exciting. But over time, her humor started turning into something colder. It began subtly, small digs about chores I forgot, teasing me about my receding hairline, laughing with her friends when I tripped over our dog. I ignored it. Marriage, I told myself, was about not making mountains out of molehills. But over the months, her jokes stopped sounding like affection and started feeling like ridicule. That night, we were at a friend's dinner party, 8 of us around a table, glasses of wine, laughter bouncing off the walls. Someone brought up bad first dates. One of Emily's friends turned to her and asked about hers. Without hesitation, she smirked and said, "Oh, definitely the guy who wouldn't stop talking about himself." Well, him and Ryan tied for last. The table erupted in laughter. I forced a smile, pretending it didn't sting, even though it did. Then came the line that changed everything. The conversation shifted to relationships, and Emily, slightly tipsy, leaned back and said with a grin, "At least my ex was bigger." The laughter died. The air froze for a second. My heart sank so deep it felt hollow. I didn't react. I didn't yell or leave. I just smiled faintly, even as something inside me cracked wide open. On the drive home, she called me sensitive, brushing the comment off like it meant nothing. I said nothing at all. I wasn't furious, just silent, thinking. That night, as she slept peacefully beside me, I stared at the ceiling replaying every word. It wasn't just the insult. It was the way she'd smirk when she said it, proud of humiliating me in front of others. I realized something had shifted permanently. The next morning, I acted normal. Kissed her forehead, made her coffee, sent her a text at lunch. I wanted her to think I had forgotten. But I hadn't. I was planning, not revenge, but a reckoning. That weekend, we hosted a small gathering at our house. Everything was perfect. The food, the drinks, the atmosphere. Emily was in her element, laughing, chatting, soaking up attention. One of our friends asked how we managed to keep our marriage strong. She grinned, ready to make another joke at my expense. Before she could, I spoke softly but clearly. "You know what keeps a marriage strong?" I said, "Respect." Or at least that's what I thought we had. The room went silent. Emily blinked confused. "Ryan," she began, but I didn't stop. "Last week, you joked about your ex being bigger. You're right. He was bigger at lying, bigger at cheating, bigger at treating you like you were nothing. And yet, here you are with me." Her smile vanished. The color drained from her face. Everyone sat frozen. "You stood there that night and turned our marriage into a punchline," I said quietly. "I laughed with you then, but I haven't looked at you the same since. Do you know why?" Her voice trembled. "Ryan, I didn't mean it. I was just—" "That's the problem," I interrupted. "You didn't think. You didn't care how it would make me feel, hearing the woman I loved tear me down to entertain a room." The silence was thick enough to feel. I exhaled slowly. "You know what? I'm done pretending disrespect is a joke. If you want to be with someone you can compare me to, go find him. I'd rather be alone than be mocked in my own marriage." Her face crumpled. Tears filled her eyes as she reached for my hand, but I didn't move. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I was being stupid. I didn't think." I nodded slightly. "Exactly. You didn't. And if this is going to work, that has to change now." She nodded quickly, the usual fire gone from her eyes. "I promise," she said softly. I leaned back, letting the tension fade just a little, and then looked around the room with a polite smile. "Sorry for the interruption. Who wants dessert?" The rest of the evening passed awkwardly, but Emily stayed quiet. Not another joke. Not another jab. That night, for the first time in a long while, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. I hadn't shouted. I hadn't sought revenge. I'd simply drawn a line. And in doing so, I got something back that I hadn't even realized I'd lost. My self-respect.